We all know that populations of organisms can change over time. Take dogs, for example. Historically, we are aware that dogs have been domesticated from wild wolves, and that the modern breeds of dog have, for the most part, arisen relatively recently. So significant changes in an animal's body plan and phenotype can evolve, and we're aware of this. If we were to consider humans, we know that many former species of humans, Homo erectus, Homo rhodesiensis, Homo floresiensis, had very different skull shapes, had very different body sizes. So we know that populations of animals can change over time. However, is this the same process as that which allows, say, fish to evolve into amphibians, amphibians into reptiles, reptiles into mammals, mammals into primates, primates into humans? Well, some people distinguish between, say, microevolution and macroevolution, saying that these are two separate processes, that the little changes, say in dogs, or the changes which would allow one species to evolve from another, is completely different from that which would, say, allow, say, fish to evolve into amphibians, because they are two separate kinds. In this next series of animations, I invite you to consider that. I'd like to take a few moments and pursue what evolutionary changes would need to have occurred if the evolutionary model is true. If evolution has occurred, if fish did evolve into amphibians, amphibians into reptiles, etc., how quickly did this happen? Over what period of time? In the next animations, I will take each of the geologic periods and indicate what the current evidence suggests the ancestors of the human lineage existed, look like at the beginning of the period and at the end of the period, and make a few mentions of features which probably evolved during that period, which we can gather from studies of modern animals and their anatomy and their genes. I hope that at the end of the video segment, you can then consider, is the amount of time in this geologic period sufficient for these changes? Because if not, then you would probably conclude that this organism at the beginning could not evolve into the organism at the end, and thus this, quote, macroevolution simply could not occur. If, however, you consider, say, the difference which has evolved in dog lineages over a couple of thousand years, and then look at the changes which would have needed to have occurred over tens of millions of years in, say, all of the fish of planet Earth for this to occur, maybe you will conclude that this is actually microevolution, that macroevolution is really just microevolution over long periods of time. So I invite you to consider, given the amount of time in each geologic period, and given the changes which we predict would have needed to have occurred if the evolutionary model for the human lineage is true, is this enough time for natural processes to cause these changes? Are the changes in ancestors needed to arrive at humans as their descendants, are they even possible?